that boring life you living gonna save you from a whole lot of fake shit. Fake friends, fake family, fake co-workers. Yeah, man, it'll keep you away from all that. You really in a peaceful state of mind. It ain't really boring. You just at peace with self. You know how to have fun alone. You know how to have fun doing what you love to do. You don't have to be out there with the crowd trying to fit in or showcase what I look like and things like that. You know how to stay at home. And ain't nothing wrong with that. So it ain't boring. Not at all. You in your peaceful state of mind, minding your business. And I truly understand that. Yeah. So we all gonna be right there with you, living that boring life, staying away from fake folks. And that's facts. I appreciate everybody that got this far in my message. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Welcome to Cozy and Frugal Living. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the boring lifestyle, okay? Boring but rich. Yes, you can be rich financially. We're going to talk about that also, but you can also be rich in spirit, okay? No stress, no drama. Some people might consider your life boring because you're not out there, you don't have a whole group of, frenemies, and you don't have a lot of drama going on. But guess what? You know what you're rich in? Peace. You're rich in dignity. You're rich in self respect. You're rich in independence. And so we are going to be talking about boring but rich. And honey, the boring life is sometimes the most exciting life. Some people who you think are boring are actually the most exciting people behind the scenes. They just know how to conserve their energy. They are not going to put their energy into something where it's going to drain them, where it's going to leave them feeling deprived and broke energetically. Okay. And also the same thing goes to with your finance. When you always have to be a part of everything, you have to be up keeping up with everybody and everything that's trending right now. Your finance goes into that, just like your energy goes into those things. A lot of the times, people who can be very financially stable, you will find them not being aware of a lot of the things that are going on or trending, because they don't care. They're not trying to buy any of it. They're not trying to buy into the hype. And so they don't pay attention to it. As that saying goes, where your attention goes, your energy flows also. And oftentimes your finances with it, right? Because right now we are in our low buy month. We're not spending, we're not trying to keep up with the hype. That dopamine hit, let me tell you, it's so exciting, and you start to feel like, oh, I'm missing out. Oh, I should buy this. Oh, I haven't bought anything for a while. That money just sitting in that account. Let me go buy something. Okay, I am here to motivate you. I know some of you already feel like, oh man, it's so boring. I should go buy something. Yes, we are here. I myself and the rest of us who are in TikTok land, where I got this information from, these amazing content creators, are here to guide you and to motivate you. You can do it, my sister, my brother. Okay, so let us get into this video here.
Do you know what I love most? My little boring life. I love being bored. Being bored means there's nothing like super crazy that I need to stress about. I just love my routine. I love living a simple life, and I have since high school wanted to just live a simple life. I wanted a little house with my boyfriend, with some cats, go to work from 9 to 5, come home, want to walk, make dinner, watch my favorite show, and go to bed. Life is all about perspective. I have days where I'm super angry because I feel like I'm just not a very spontaneous person. I don't love to travel. I don't love to do things outside of my routine. And I understand there's some things I need to push myself with, but I'm also like, there's nothing wrong with wanting to just have very simple things in a very simple life. And I just love it. And so some days I'm like, I don't even know what to post on this account because I don't really do that much. But then I'm like, there are other people out there that also don't do that much and want to see other people not do that much, because it feels good to know that you're not the only ones. I love getting coffee every morning. I love to be outside. I love to go to TJ Maxx and go shopping on the weekends and spend time by myself, spend time with my boyfriend. Like, it's just very simple, and I love it. And if you're kind of in this spot where you're like feeling bad about having a boring life, like, honestly, if you think about it, your life could be a lot more stressful. And maybe the boring isn't so bad. So that's my little TED Talk for the day.
A little TED Talk. And there are a lot of people like that. I have a daughter, and she's a teenager. And we both have very different personalities, okay? When I was her age, I used to dream about just being free to do whatever I want. But I had very strict parents, so I couldn't, millennials and our strict parents, right? But yes, I used to just wish that I can just do whatever I want, go to all the parties and the clubs and everything. And my daughter is the opposite. She has never asked to go anywhere to do anything. Half of the time, I'm the one like pushing her. Hey, do you want to do this? Do you want to go? You want to go to this concert? Do you want to do this? It doesn't bother her. She's fine just being at home, watching TV, studying, getting good grades, and she's fine with that. And I appreciate that about her because she doesn't stress me out to spend a lot of money. So uh and she's very mature, and she seems like she's very mature. She's like, look, I just want to go to work, I just want to do my 9 to 5. I have my boyfriend, I have my cats, I have my home, I have Netflix, I have money to pay my bills. Why do I need to be doing more? I don't want to do more. I am fine. And she, you don't see her stressing out and crashing out about not being able to pay her bills, and um being kicked out and stuff like that. And so the boring life is not how people make it to be. It may be boring for some people because they want to be active and they want to do a lot of things, and that's fine. If you have the money to do it, that is fine. But if you're trying to live this exciting life but then you can't afford it, well, that's where the problem comes in, right? Yes, you'll go up and have the fun, but then you're crying afterwards because you're in credit card debt, and you got all this thing, bills, collectors, everybody calling you, family member hounding you for the money that they lent you years ago. You never paid them back, and now you want some more money, but they don't want to give you any more money because you're always asking for money, right? And so now you're burning bridges with people or they burning bridges with you. And so, to me, go ahead and live your boring life. As long as you are happy and you're content with it, then live your life the way you want to.
I think your average person could be very well off and even wealthy by the time that they're ready to retire if we didn't normalize bad spending habits and all have egos. Here's what I mean by that. We've normalized going out twice a weekend, spending an absurd amount of money for a night that we might not even remember. On top of that, no one wants to live at home anymore. I mean, if you have a good relationship with your parents, why not save rent for a good 2-3 years while you get your career off the ground? If you took all that money that you spent on rent and just put it in a Roth IRA, EFT, stocks, and didn't just dish out $800 to $1,200 a month, you would be very well off to that point of financial freedom. But rather than the boring way of getting wealthy, everyone listens to the meme coiners and wants to buy that brand new car as soon as they get the first job that they think they deserve. And the reality is that beater with 4 wheels, a steering wheel, and Bluetooth will work just as fine. Then by the time you do have a family to take care of and a lot of expenses and you have your own place, you'll already have those accounts that are making money for you, and it'll honestly be a habit to keep putting money into them. On top of that, you keep growing your skills, you keep networking, you get that experience, keep getting higher paying jobs. That's the game of life. That's the boring game of life, and no one wants to play it anymore. So, I mean, that's on other people, but I think that's the smartest way if you're not part of that top 1% or part of that 10% that's creative as hell and can make money their own ways. Stop trying to be something you're not. And yes, shit is too expensive nowadays, but that does not mean that you get to use that as an excuse not to create your own type of wealth. The odds are stacked against us, but you can still play the game.
Let's make a good point. Okay, if you have a good relationship with your family, especially look in this day and age, look, I'm scared for my daughter. Okay, when she has to go off and take care of herself. Right now, when I shop, I'm thinking legacy. I'm thinking when I buy things, I'm thinking like, she's gonna get her own place. So I'm like stocking up on things if she does get her own apartment, or she can just stay with me and save her money. As long as she's saving her money. If she's stay with me and she's wasting her money, go get you an apartment and struggle like the rest of us since you want to waste money. If you have a good relationship with your family, stay home and work and save your money. Okay, invest that money, so that way when you are in your 30s or your late 20s, you have something built up for yourself. Don't just go and, you know, live off your parents and waste your money. That just defeats the purpose. It seems boring. Oftentimes you want to have the expensive apartment. It's almost like a flex now to say like, oh, my rent is $2,000, my rent is such and such. And I did that back in the day. I did that, and it was miserable, to be honest with you. The apartment was big, it was expensive. I had the pool, I had the gym, I had the everything. And I was so bored and so lonely in that apartment. And guess what? I got like a 2 bedroom because I was like, oh, if I have friends to come over. Well, guess what? I never had time for friends to come over because I was always at work trying to pay the apartment. Most of my paycheck went into rent. That's how expensive the rent was. That it took like a whole 3/4 of my paycheck went into that. And then I don't know, because of the high ceilings, the electric bill was so ridiculously high. Oh my gosh, I have never paid electric bill like that in my life until I lived in that place. And I think it's because the ceiling were so high. My heat was always really expensive because the heat rises to the top, and it was like those 10-foot high ceilings, so all the heat was trapped up there. And oh my gosh, no, it was just an expensive nightmare that I will never make again.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but that boring life that you complain about is going to save you in the long run. Trust me. Don't listen to anything else I say. Listen to this. A boring life is a peaceful life. It's where you can hear God's word the most. It's where you gain so much clarity. It's where your life is just completely drama free and you're at peace. So don't complain about having a boring life. Don't complain. It's okay to go out every now and again. It's okay to do things, but being on the scene and just doing too much is not the flex that you think it is. Trust me. All right. So I don't care what people have to say about you. People could say you're boring or whatever, or they complain. Ignore them. You have goals. You have your life already set up. It was already written. So enjoy that boring life. You got this, friend.
You got this, okay? And like she said, it's being out there, being a part of everything is not as it seems. I remember, and I feel like I'm going into story time, but truly, it being by yourself or just protecting your energy. Now we're talking about not just your finances but your energy, right? Because your finances goes where your attention is going, right? And where your energy is going. Give something time. Give people time. Give yourself time to get to know somebody, or give yourself time before you go and take that leap, right? And you're like, oh, I should be doing this. And I don't know why, but I swear, like she said, you hear God's word when you live in this boring life. There's been so many times where I was tempted to go and be a part of something, or go out with a group of friends, or people that I know in the workplace. And then something just like, I just didn't it didn't sit well with me. I just didn't want to do it. And I was like, oh, I'm so boring, I'm so picky, I'm so this. Like, why don't I feel motivated to go? Why don't I want to be a part of this? Only for like a week or 2 weeks later, I'm hearing so much drama in the workplace about these people. Oh my gosh. The things that you find out when you just sit there and listen, I'm like shocked, okay? Or later on you see something come out in the news, or you see somebody making a video about maybe a certain event that you wanted to go to, and you're like, man, I'm so glad I didn't go. I stayed home, I saved my money. Something just didn't feel right with me. Maybe that's the Holy Spirit or God guiding you, telling you, stay home, save your money. This is not worth it, right? And so I feel like, like this guy said here, Deuce Improvement, I think that's his name, Deuce's Improvement. He's like, a lot of the time it's just ego driven. You know, we want to do what other people are doing. We want to fit in. We don't want to be the boring person. We don't want to come off like we're antisocial, or we don't like people. And oftentimes when you just like being by yourself, you will be labeled antisocial. You will be labeled like some kind of boring killjoy. You never want to do anything, and you're so cheap, and you're so this, and you're so that. And don't fall for it, because again, if you give something time, you will hear a lot of stuff coming
If you
out.
want to save money, you have to learn to be okay with being bored. And what I mean by that is if you find yourself bored a lot, you're more likely to go spend money. I know I am, at least, like run and get a coffee, run and go to TJ Maxx, run and go to Home Goods. You're not actually needing anything, you're just bored. So if you can learn how to sit in boredom and be like, okay, you know, this actually isn't so bad. Let me figure out something I can do in my house to keep me occupied, whether it's getting ready just for the fun of it, whether it's trying a new hairstyle, trying a new makeup look, maybe it's cleaning your house, doing your laundry. I'm telling you, if you can learn to be okay with being bored, you will save money. I am seeing this happen. I had 4 no spend days this week out of 7 days. 4 of those days, I didn't spend any money. The only money I spent this week, or I'm sorry, this weekend, was I had Chipotle once and I got groceries, and that was it. The rest of the time, I just like found stuff to do. It's been really nice.
And that is another thing, right? Where she's talking about your bored spending. And I know I have been guilty of that. And like I talked about in a previous video, where there was a time when I used to work a lot. Like I can fall into the workaholic trap real easy. I don't know. There's just some, ever since I was a teenager, I've just kind of been a workaholic type of person. Spending was a coping mechanism for me, of like feeling like I was alive. To go and order something on Amazon and have the package come in, I feel like, oh, I got a gift. Yay, I worked so hard for this. Or to run to TJ Maxx and pick up something, just randomly buy a sandals that I'm not going to wear because I don't have time to wear it, or buy some type of outfit for the vacation that I wasn't going to go on because I didn't have time to go on the vacation. And so I was just like buying stuff just to buy stuff, just to feel like I'm alive. When I finally just took a step back from all of that because I was really burnt out and tired, and I finally took time to sit with myself. And I remember it took me like a whole week where of me just sitting by myself and not shopping, not doing anything, just being at home. And I was like, well, maybe I'm depressed or something, you know. But in that time, I realized how safe I felt with not shopping, with not having to just run to the store all the time, and just having the money in my account. And it dawned on me, like, you don't have to be working so hard. You make good money. You don't have to be working so hard all the time to make more, make more. If you just stop spending the money, duh, if you stop spending the money, you would have the money in your account. And then when you do really need to go somewhere and treat yourself, you would have all that money to do that, instead of always like robbing Peter to pay Paul, you know, in that type of lifestyle. And so when when it finally dawned on me, it was just like, ah, you know. So now I don't burn myself out anymore trying to work all these hours and make all this money. I just cut out the spending and enjoy my time at home. Sit down and like enjoy watching a movie on Netflix that I pay for, you know, because that was another thing. I never had time to even sit down and watch Netflix. My daughter would have time to watch it. Everybody can come to my house and watch Netflix and chill, except me. Why am I paying for things that I myself never had time to enjoy? It was just ridiculous. Like, you shouldn't be working so hard for other people to enjoy the comforts that you have worked so hard for.
I'm gonna hold your hand so tight when I say this. You do not have an income problem, you have a spending problem. You can make all the money in the world. Matter of fact, when I was making the most money I ever made in my life, going from like 40K a year to 120, 130K a year, I was the most broke I had ever been, because I made every wrong mistake you could ever make when you start making money, and that has inflated my lifestyle. I got a brand new car, I got a really nice apartment that was way more than I could afford, but again, I justified it. I gaslit the fuck out of myself. Like, that's what I did. I gaslit myself because I was like, oh, I can afford it, I'm making money. Like, yeah, technically monthly payment wise, my bills versus my income was good. However, when you factor in debt, credit card payments, student loans, personal loans, collections, hello, credit scores. I'm sorry, but you can't afford it. If you're someone who, you know, you make good money and you're like, I just need to make more money and then I'll be in a better position. Don't gaslight yourself. I'm gonna tell you right now, don't do it. You gotta fix your spending habits. You gotta start tracking your expenses. Like, don't just be buying whatever you can because you make money. No, you don't.
That is funny because that's how you feel. You're like, oh, I just work some more hours. And I remember there was a time like I was working 5 days a week, right? And I was making good money and I was spending the money. And I kept thinking like, oh my gosh, I don't have enough money. I have to pay off this bill and pay off that bill. And I'm just working and I can't catch up and I can't catch a break. And I was like thinking like, how can I work more hours? But I'm like, I'm already working 5 days a week. Damn, and I'm so fucking tired. I don't want to have to be here 6 days a week. And it's almost like it still never dawned on me to just cut back on spending because it's almost like I was trying so hard to cope with that environment. I felt like I needed to buy those things to just feel sane. But I was placing my happiness on all the things that I could afford, all the things that I was going to buy next. And so I was going into work with the mindset of like, oh, well, if I go in and I survive this week of working hard and draining myself out, then I can treat myself to this and I can treat myself to that and I can treat myself to this. And so it's like, but what was the point though? If you didn't have all of this debt that you put yourself in, you wouldn't have had to work so hard. You can just work a couple days and then just enjoy being at home after that.
After 10 years of working service industry jobs, commission jobs, any job you can think of, I've started making money after becoming a full-time content creator, more money than I made before. And while having more money is incredibly freeing, the culture of having money is deeply boring. Let me give you an example. So last year I moved out of Brooklyn into a coveted area in Manhattan. Every day I miss how inspired I used to feel in Brooklyn because I used to be surrounded by such fashionable people accessorizing outfits out of nothing, people breaking the boundaries of fashion, gender, culture. And now I walk outside and everyone is in like the same black workout set. Everyone is in the same t-shirt and jeans combo. Sometimes I feel that my style has suffered as a result. I'll never forget the first time that I got into a club without having to wait in line. I was so excited. And that's where the excitement stopped, by the way, because I get in, everyone is just on their phones. No one is dancing. You go to any highly sought after club or restaurant in New York, it's the same atmosphere of nonchalance. Restaurants that I can afford now, the food is fine. The gym that I can afford now is just like any other gym. I'm not saying that to be ungrateful because just a few years ago, I wanted to have money and go to like the coolest parties and the coolest events. But now I realize that the true wealth is being able to pay my dog's medical bills, being able to employ my extremely talented friends, being able to buy expensive gifts for my parents that they would have never bought for themselves. What I'm trying to tell you guys is that when everything becomes expensive and about status and about being seen, you lose culture and we lose cool people.
Yes, and I think she said something that's really interesting, and that is, look, to me, I've come to realize like the same way we have niches on YouTube, where you might have people who have a million subscribers and all they do is crochet, right? You have people who are like into books and bookbinding. They might have like hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and you're like, how on earth? Why do all these people come over here just to watch this person? The same way you have different niches on YouTube, you have different niches of wealthy people. Not all wealthy people are the same, and not all wealthy people like the same things, but they do have some similarities. The wealthier you get, the more closed your life becomes, the more you have to be careful. It's not always about chasing money and chasing wealth, because wealth comes with its own set of headaches. And I love how she said here that now for her, she said that she realized that true happiness comes from just being able to pay for her dog's medical expense and being able to have money to hire her friends to help her, maybe run her content, run her channel and stuff like that. That is a good way to, you have the wealth, you're making the money, and you can employ your family and your friends and help them come up also, right?
Hey, if you really want to get ahead, you're going to have to go ghost for at least 6 months to a year. You're going to have to be bored, man. I know a lot of folks can't fathom that. I think that, oh, that's unrealistic. I can't do it. Oh, I just can't do it. I can't be consistent. I just gotta have some fun. Well, stay on the hamster wheel then. Keep going to work trying to figure it out. You can't be bored for 6 months to a year to change your life, to change the whole trajectory of your life. You always gotta have fun. You always gotta go out there and buy shoes. You always gotta buy clothes. You always gotta eat out. You always gotta go to the hot shindigs. Man, go missing for 6 months to a year to get it all the way up and together. And I promise you, when you come out of this shit, you're gonna realize the same folks still doing the same shit. And guess what? You're gonna have money then. Because you've been saving. Guess what? When you get that money, you're gonna know how hard you worked to build that savings account up and get that credit right. Get what? You ain't even gonna really wanna kick it like that. It's a mindset thing.